beautiful. I love the way you're playing. Great. Probably more times than that, but rock and roll. Anything else? I think we're good.
Appropriate kind of this type of music.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one that I do with the teenagers all the time. It was kind of like our theme song for the year because we did the theme for High Holy Days last year was this verse.
What was the name?
So it's from Pirkei Avot, which is the ethics of our ancestors. Lo lecha hamlecha ligmor v'lo atah ben harin lehivatel mimena. It's from the earliest set of rabbinic texts, and it's a creative translation of the Hebrew.
Okay.
Even if you can't finish what you begin, there's no reason you should dig your heels in. It means it is not upon you to complete the work, but neither are you free to desist from it. Is the literal translation, which is kind of horrible and not pithy. So we worked with 4 different translations of what could this verse mean? What does it mean to keep taking up the work? So
it's not really work song, right?
No.
Okay. Every folk song or traditional some folk music has some kind of a work song.
Yeah, no, it's not like a coal miner song. It's written by this particular song was written by a rabbi who works at a Jewish school in Toronto.
Okay. What are they doing outside?
It's a program called Feed the Hungry.
Oh,
where
they're making sandwiches?
Yeah, so they make sandwiches to donate them. And it's an interfaith program. They'll take them to a church.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm the one who's hungry too. I'm using my. Do you need any outlet? No. Oh.
Shabbat Shalom. And it is already a fantastic Shabbat, having just completed a Feed the Hungry packing party. What better way to start Shabbat than by making our world a little bit better, healing a little piece of the brokenness, and by coming together in support and in strength, in celebration, in all of these ways that we show up for one another. It is already a great Shabbat, and it is only going up from here. And in order to help us make it the best Shabbat ever, I like to know who's walking into Shabbat with me. And I'm sure all of you like to know who's walking into Shabbat with you. So I invite you to turn to someone you know, even someone you don't know. Introduce yourself, wish them a Shabbat Shalom. If you're joining us online, you can type a little Shabbat Shalom. Wow, that was very coordinated. Good job. Hine matov u'manayim, how wonderful it is that we are able to gather together. How wonderful it is that we're able to bring in celebrations of birthdays and anniversaries and bat mitzvahs, to be able to bring the strength that we all need and can we rely on each other for. How wonderful it is that we know who's sitting with us and around us and in our hearts. And in order to bring in all of this light, all of this sweetness, and all of this joy, Lizzie is about to become bat mitzvah in the morning, and I invite you and your family to come help us with some candles and kiddush. The trickiest of Shabbat candles.
Yes.
One match per candle. Every time.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Would you like to pour a little, fill up the cup? That's the kid version of Amen. You can fill it up all the way. Perfect.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Pour it into the fountain.
That's so cool.
Ooh, there, thank you. Ah. Awesome. And a little bit of kiddush for every Nadler. Got it. We've got some more celebrations, kiddush. It's very good juice. Okay, l'chaim. And not only do we have the light and the sweetness, but we also have something that tastes, hopefully, a little bit spiritually like a birthday cake. So, Allison and Annie, I'm going to invite you forward because you have chosen to do this as a buddy birthday blessing. And any amount of your kids that want to come with you are more than welcome. And you found our fidgets in our brand new ritual cabinet. How great that it's being used. So when you guys said that you wanted to do a birthday blessing together, because you are both marking this special birthday that I should have asked before if I could say the number. You are both celebrating your 40th birthday, and being able to celebrate that in partnership is, I don't know if you realize this, such a Jewish thing to do. Not only is it very hard to do a lot of things that Jews do alone, but we have a tradition of buddies, of zugot, and having someone to support us and challenge us and to make us become our best selves. And that has happened all the way from the beginning with our patriarchs and matriarchs, how each one of them had their partner, had their buddy, all the way to now where we don't do anything ever alone. To be able to celebrate, to be able to parent in community, to be able to come into J-Quest and know that there's a mahjong mat ready to go, and to know that your kids are taken care of as much as you are taken care of, and to be able to celebrate the wonderfulness that is our lives is such a gift, and such an amazing gift to be able to give us, because we all need the reminder as well to celebrate these milestones, to celebrate being in partnership, to celebrate being wonderful friends, to celebrate being able to say, I have something special, you have something special, and it becomes brighter because we have that together. Each one of you brings that specialness into our congregation and into our world and makes it even more brighter because we get to live a little vicariously through all of your birthdays. And I truly just want to say thank you for joining us. Thank you for being a part of Jeremiah and for helping to lift us up, because you have so much to offer in so many different spaces. Thank you for sharing your birthday, but so much more. Thank you for sharing your everyday with us. And because it is a special birthday, because it is Shabbat, and because, why don't we have more Shechianu moments in the world? Perhaps we shall bless this birthday, we shall bless this moment with thanking God for bringing us together.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, she'echeanu v'kiyemanu, v'higianu lazman hazeh, she'echeanu v'kiyemanu, v'higianu lazman hazeh.
Amen, and happy birthday.
Thank you.
So my bat mitzvah was 27 years ago today, June 5th, 1999. And my dad's bar mitzvah was June 5th, 1971. So it's a good bat mitzvah weekend and bar mitzvah weekend.
If Lizzie needs some help, she
I
can
say,
call
"What's-
you in the
what's
morning.
Parsha tomorrow? Do you remember what the parsha is tomorrow?
Lizzie, what's your parsha? Shlach lecha.
Was that yours? Mine was Bachalotcha. All right, you
All
got
right, well, all within the one after the other. We welcome all of these pieces of Shabbat into our lives and into our souls as we welcome in the Shabbat angels. We turn to that song of welcome, page 24 in the thinner volumes or 142 in the thicker volumes, for Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem Leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzidchem Leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
As we continue to ride the high of the joy and celebration that was our last week's Shabbat, as we celebrated Rabbi Cohen's 26 years, we keep bringing in that beautiful music of Nefesh Mountain, our Hine Matov that we opened with, and their version of Baruch Hu. I want to hear somebody pray. I want to call each of us to that moment of worship, page 28 or 146, and on our screens. Please rise as you are able.
I want to hear somebody pray. I want to hear somebody pray.
On page 33 or 151, at the bottom of the page, we read in English together. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol. All these things your Torah gives to us, and the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך לדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם מאוד על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם, אמת.
On page 43 or 161, at the bottom of the page, we read together, Give us a place to rest, Adonai, our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael, V'al Yerushalayim. Page 44 or 162. As we turn to our Amidah, we invite up our Erev Bat Mitzvah, Lizzie, to help lead us in the first few prayers. We begin on page 46 or 164. Please rise as you are able.
Adonai sifatai tiftaf ufia yitegilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu ve'imotenu. Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rahel, Ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, V'konei hakol, v'zoher haste avot v'imahot, u'mevi geula, livnei v'neihem, leman shemo be'ahava. Melech Ozer Umoshia Umagen Baruch Atah Adonai Magen Avraham Vezrat Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mihaye Hakol Atarav Lechoshia Morid Hatal Mihakeh Chaim Behesed Mihaye Hakol Barahamim Rabim Somech Noflim Verofei Holim Umatir Asurim Kayem Amunoto Lishnei Afar Mi Chamocha Ba'al Gevurot Umido Melach Melech Memit Chayeh Umitzmiach Yeshua V'ne'eman Atah L'chachayot HaKol Baruch Atah Adonai Mechayeh HaKol.
Please be seated. We take these next few moments for the prayers that are not necessarily found on the pages of our prayer books, but the prayers that are found on the pages of our hearts and our lives in this moment of personal reflection.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Ki Ata Hu Melech Adon Lechol Hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. B'tov le'einecha levaresh et amcha Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Tasim Le'olam. Tasim
We continue now with a prayer for the state, for the land, and the people of Israel. You'll find the blessing on the screens, and we offer this prayer responsively. Ribono shel olam, sovereign of the universe, source of life and breath, we lift our hearts to you.
Spread over the land of Israel a shelter of peace, a sukkot shalom for all who dwell there.
Strengthen the people of Israel, the soldiers who keep watch, the families who wait, the children who long for safety.
Grant wisdom and courage to those entrusted with leadership. Guide their decisions toward restraint and toward life.
Healer of the brokenhearted, be near to the wounded. Comfort those who mourn. Protect those in danger.
Remember the innocent, Israelis and Palestinians alike, families and children caught in the fires of war.
God of Abraham and Sarah, God of Hagar and Ishmael, teach our hearts to see your image in every face.
May the one who makes peace in the high heavens, Oseh Shalom Bimromav, bring peace to Israel, to the land, and peace to all the world.
And together we say,
Amen.
Amen. We continue with a prayer for the United States of America. Every inch of America is sacred from sea to shining sea. There is much to be done in our time, the sort of hard work on which God smiles, because it is done for the sake and dignity and well-being of all God's creatures.
Together, let us work to preserve and make manifest the values upon which our democracy was founded.
The task of all people of faith is to call governing authorities to fulfill God's purpose of bringing about justice, mercy, and peace.
Individually and as a nation, may we heed our obligations to each other as we navigate the tensions of building a just society.
Rather than a politics of divisiveness, may we move our country toward a politics of empathy.
May we use our power well so we do great things for all God's creatures, all those made in God's image who yearn for an equal place at America's table.
If we do all this, may grace and peace be ours in abundance. May we be a beacon and a blessing to all the world. And together we say,
Amen.
Amen. As we continue with our prayer for healing, Debbie Friedman of blessed memory, who wrote the melody that is most familiar to us, divided the prayer into two parts. The first part of the prayer is focused on the caregivers and granting them strength. And the second part is for those who are in need of care, who are in need of healing. And so what I suggest again tonight is that we offer that prayer for the caregivers, for all who are caring, the professionals and those family members alike. And then pause to offer the opportunity for people to share the names of the people that they are especially thinking of who are in need of healing. And then we'll continue with the second part of the blessing. The Misha Berach prayer can be found on page 253 in the thinner volumes and on page 371 in the thicker volumes. Margie Amster, Norman Block, Sorara Korva, Leachana Bat Rachel, Lila and Aaron Eckel, Arnie Fishbane, Carol Fishbane, Robbie Gerson, Andrea Gordon, Eric Harubi, Justin Kaufman, Jim Clapman, David Levinson, Alan Liebnick, David Levy, Michelle Levy, Diane Mayer, Deputy Steve Modert, Ronald Rubin, Rabbi Robert Schreibman, Trish Salk, James Solicharovsky, Mark Weiss, Rick Wolf, Jillian Zaks, and Michael Zinn. I've always been intrigued by the opening words of this week's Torah portion. Shlach lecha anashim ve'aturu et eretz Canaan, usually translated as, send men to scout the land of Canaan. But that is not exactly what the Hebrew says. It says, shlach lecha, send for yourself. That little word, lecha, caught the attention of the rabbis centuries ago. Rashi famously comments, I am not commanding you. If you wish, send. Imagine that. God has promised the land. God has brought the Israelites out of Egypt. God has split the sea. God has fed them with manna. God has guided them through the wilderness. And now, standing at the border of the promised land, God essentially says to Moses, if you want to send spies, go ahead. I've often wondered about that. Why send spies at all? What exactly is Moses looking for or supposed to be looking for? More information? Reassurance? Certainty? And if we're honest, aren't we often looking for the very same thing? Most of us are not standing at the border of Canaan, but many of us find ourselves standing at the edge of something. A new chapter in life, maybe a new title, maybe a new way of relating to the congregation. I'm just saying. A difficult diagnosis, a family challenge, a decision about the future, a conversation we know that we need to have, a dream we are not quite sure we are ready to pursue. We want more information, we want certainty, we want guarantees, and who can blame us? I don't judge the spies too harshly. I understand them. They were standing at the edge of a future they could not control. Most of us know exactly what that feels like. One of the most insightful comments on this story comes from the Netziv. He points out that the spies were never sent to determine whether the land could be conquered. God had already answered that question. The land would be theirs. The real question was how they would enter. Their mission was strategic, not existential. They were supposed to ask, how do we get there? What route should we take? What challenges lie ahead? But instead, they returned asking an entirely different question. Can we get there at all? And that shift changed everything. And I wonder if that isn't one of the great spiritual challenges of our lives. How often do we turn a question of how into a question of can? How often do we take a challenge that requires courage and transform it into a reason for despair? How often do we move from asking what is the next step to asking, why bother? The 10 spies looked at the land and saw giants. Joshua and Caleb looked at the same land and saw possibility. The land was identical. The difference was not what they saw. The difference was how they interpreted what they saw. The spies returned and said, "We were like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and so we were in theirs." I've always found that verse particularly heartbreaking. Notice what happens. First, they see themselves as grasshoppers. Then they assume that everyone else sees them the same way. Their fear becomes their identity. Their anxiety becomes their reality. Rabbi Simcha Zissel of Kelm taught that true humility, anava, does not mean thinking less of yourself. It means seeing yourself truthfully. The spies were not humble. They underestimated themselves. They forgot who they were. They forgot everything they had already overcome. They forgot the sea that they had crossed, the wilderness they had survived, and the God who had carried them this far. Joshua and Caleb, they remembered. They saw the giants too. They simply refused to see themselves as grasshoppers. That is the Musar quality of Anava. Humility grounded in truth. Another midah at work here is ometz lev, courage of heart. Rabbi Alan Marinas, who recently visited us here at Temple Jeremiah, teaches that courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is acting despite fear. Joshua and Caleb were not fearless. They were simply unwilling to allow fear to make their decisions for them. And perhaps that leads to another essential midah, bitachon, trust. Not certainty, trust. Certainty says, I know exactly what will happen. Trust says, I do not know exactly what will happen, but I know I do not face it alone. That distinction feels especially important today. We live in an age of endless information. We can scout forever. We can research, analyze, compare, evaluate, and worry. We have more information than any generation in human history. And yet, many of us feel more anxious than ever. Perhaps because more information alone cannot answer life's deepest questions. The Israelites had information. What they lacked was trust. And so do we at times. We look around and see a world filled with uncertainty. We see rising anti-Semitism. We worry about Israel. We worry about our country. We worry about our children and grandchildren. We worry about our health and our future. The dangers are real. The giants are real. But if all we see are giants, we will never enter the promised land. Rabbi Nachman of Bratslav expressed this truth with extraordinary wisdom, and it's oftentimes misquoted because of the beautiful melody that we sing, right? Kol ha'olam kulo gesher tsar ma'od. That's not the quotation. The actual quotation is, Veda sheha'adam tzarich la'avor al gesher tsar ma'od ma'od, v'haklal v'ha'ikar shelo yitpached klal. So that translation is, know that every human being must cross a very, very narrow bridge. And the essential thing is not to frighten oneself at all. Notice what Rabbi Nachman does not say. He does not say the bridge is wide. He does not say there is no danger. He does not tell us to ignore reality. The bridge is narrow. Life is uncertain. The future cannot be fully known, yet we are called to cross. And perhaps the most powerful word in this teaching is yitpached. He does not simply say, do not be afraid. Fear is a part of being human. The spies were afraid. Joshua and Caleb were afraid. We are all afraid sometimes. Rather, Rabbi Nachman teaches not to frighten ourselves. Do not magnify fear until it becomes larger than reality. Do not allow anxiety to become the story you tell yourself. Do not mistake uncertainty for impossibility. That is exactly what the 10 spies did. Joshua and Caleb, well, they chose a different story. Not a story without danger, a story with hope, a story with courage, a story with faith. The story of the spies reminds us that life continually places us at the edge of a new frontier. The question is never whether there will be giants. There always will be. The question is whether we will see ourselves as grasshoppers or as partners with God. This Shabbat, we celebrate examples of people who have chosen throughout their lives to keep crossing bridges and embracing new horizons. So first, we offer a blessing to Randy and Charles Gurian as they celebrate 35 years of marriage. So 35 years ago,
He was more sure for the 35 years ago.
Got it. Well, you got to be careful. You got to be careful. We must all cross very, very narrow bridges.
With stairs.
35 years ago, you stood beneath a chuppah and began a journey together into a future neither could fully know. Over those years, you have built a life rich in love, learning, adventure, friendship, and Jewish commitment. Whether through your devotion to worship, your deep engagement in Torah study and adult learning, your commitment to this congregation, or your love of exploring the world together, you have continued to embrace life with curiosity and gratitude. May your love continue to deepen, your journeys continue to inspire, and may you go from strength to strength. And may the year ahead bring continued health, joy, discovery, and blessing, but be just a taste of the wonderful years yet to come. May we be privileged to celebrate them together. Stay right here. We also celebrate Howard Rosenberg. Howard, if you'll come forward, who is celebrating a milestone birthday. And you can bring however many family members you would like. Grandchildren are welcome, 100%. And a spouse. And more grandchildren. And so we celebrate with you, Howard, as you mark your 70th birthday. Now, the psalmist teaches that 70 years is a special milestone, but Jewish tradition reminds us that a life is measured not simply by years, but by lives touched. Throughout your career, Howard, you have devoted yourself to helping families navigate some of life's most difficult circumstances. You have guided people through moments of uncertainty with wisdom, compassion, and care. Together with Susan, you have built a beautiful family, raising wonderful daughters, each of whom has found her own besheret, beloved partner, and now enjoy the blessings of grandchildren. Yes. Your life reminds us that entering the promised land is not a single moment. It is a lifelong journey of service, love, commitment, and faithfulness. May this milestone birthday be filled with gratitude for all that has been, pride in all that has been built, and anticipation for all the blessings still to come. May you continue to enjoy health, purpose, joy, and many years surrounded by the love of family and community. And may this 71st year be filled with laughter, joy, and blessing, but be just a taste of the wonderful years yet to come. And together we say, Amen. So stay right here for a moment while I finish.
That what they mean by from your mouth to God's ears?
Yes, exactly right. And perhaps that is the deepest lesson of Shalach Lecha. Every one of us stands before some promised land, a new chapter, a difficult conversation, a loss we are learning to live with, a dream we have not yet pursued, a future we cannot fully see. The question is not whether there are giants. There always will be. The question is whether we will see ourselves as grasshoppers or as partners with God. May we have the humility to know our strengths. May we have the courage to cross the narrow bridge before us. May we have the wisdom not to frighten ourselves into paralysis. May we have the trust to keep moving forward when the path ahead is uncertain. And may we, like Joshua and Caleb, discover that God's promises are often found on the other side of the step we are afraid to take. Let us take these steps together as we express our gratitude to God for this moment and for all the joyous moments and blessings of our lives with Shehechianu.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu v'kiyemanu v'higianu lezman hazeh, shehechianu v'kiyemanu v'higianu lezman hazeh.
There's so many in our lives who have helped us cross that narrow bridge, who have helped us in the struggle to not make ourselves afraid through the way that they lived their lives, the way that they supported and loved us. As we remember them now, I invite those who are participating in our digital worship to share the names of loved ones that you are thinking of in this moment. And for those present here in our sanctuary, if it is your custom to do so, I invite you to rise as I share the name of your loved ones. Remember the passing just this past week of Carol Bellows, mother of Dan and his Karen, Marcia and her Alan, and Douglas and his Bonnie, grandmother of Jason, Samuel, and Arthur. We also remember the recent passings of Samuel Magid, Henry Barron, Fred Schwimmer, Carol Drexler, Jerry Litsky, Jeff Sanders, Suzanne Litvek. And we also call into our hearts the countless civilians caught in the crossfire of war, of terror, and of violence. And we also remember the yahrzeit of those whose death occurred at this season in years past. Edward Adler, Morris Adler, David Backenoff, Bernard Bell, Marlene Brandt, Ralph Bruslin, Lillian Kaplan, Joseph Cohn, Maury Cooper, Leon Epstein, William Feldman, Red Fell, Francis Gaynor, Molly Galter, Howard Haas, Rose Jacoby, Elizabeth Kaufman, Hannah Kraus, Sherwin Lieb, Marty Lerman, Lois Marks, Howard Mellum, David Metzger, Harold Myers, Ann Edith Painter, Linda Reif, Hyman Saldinger, William Smith, Alfred Smith, Daniel Sorkin, Ray Stern, Don Trilling, Jerry Wayne, Fanny Wolf, Bessie Zakin, Mavis Zimmerman. Are there other names that we are remembering in this moment? Zichronam livracha, may the memory of the righteous always be for a blessing. Together as one family we rise, turning to page 294 in the thinner volumes and 598 in the thicker volumes for Kaddish Yatom, the mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, b'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon, u'v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach leolam olmei olmaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal shemei dekudsha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran b'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shamaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn and bring comfort to all who are bereaved among us. And together we say, Amen. Please be seated. Right?
Hello, my name is Brian Rubin, and I'm proud to serve on the Executive Committee and Board of Directors of Temple Jeremiah. On behalf of the congregation, we welcome our prospective members, visitors, and guests. Thank you for sharing this Kabbalat Shabbat worship with us, and I want to thank our clergy, Mary Ann, for making this so special tonight. Our condolences go out to all of those in our community that have experienced a loss. I want to congratulate those that have milestone birthdays, anniversaries, including our Buddy birthdays, our Howard, Randy and Charles on their milestone anniversary, and looking forward to Lizzie becoming a bat mitzvah tomorrow. I'm sure she's going to do great based on tonight's blessings that you read. There's always a lot going on at Temple Jeremiah, and I encourage you to look at the Temple website as well as Thursday's email. But there's just a few announcements that I'd like to highlight tonight. Saturday, June 6th at 4 p.m. is our Inclusion Garden Party and Havdalah. Friday, June 12th at 6:30 is our Gratitude Shabbat with our board installation as well as our choir. Tuesday, June 16th at 11 a.m. is our Musart at the Garden, joining our Rabbi Cohen at the Chicago Botanic Garden to explore Musart teachings through a walk. Wednesday, June 17th at 7 p.m. is trivia at Ridgeville Tavern in Evanston. Friday, June 19th at 6:30 is our Brotherhood Shabbat and Shabbat dinner with friends at 7:30. And our adult learning with our new rabbi, Associate Rabbi Ben Rosen on Mondays, July 8th, 13th, and 20th at 7 p.m. And also just a reminder that the JQuest registration is now open. Again, welcome everyone, especially our prospective and new members, and Shabbat Shalom.
We're going to bring our worship to a close with the singing of Lo Alecha. Do I have that right?
Yeah.
Lo Alecha, which you will see on your screens. Please rise as you are able and remain standing for our closing blessing.
And if anyone knows this one and wants to help me lead it, you are welcome to come on up. You don't have to. It's an option. All right. Sing right into the microphone? Yeah. Okay. Even if you can't finish what you begin, there's no reason you shouldn't dig your heels in. Roll up your sleeves, for the hour is late. Doing your part to make this world great. Even if you can't finish what you begin, there's no reason you shouldn't dig your heels in. Roll up your sleeves, for the hour is late. Doing your part to make this world great. Even if you can't finish what you begin, there's no reason you shouldn't dig your heels in. Roll up your sleeves, for the hour is late. Doing your part to make this world great.
Bruchim Ayinu v'voenu, bruchim niyeh b'tzeitenu. Blessed are we as we gather together to welcome Shabbat. Blessed may we be from this time and always. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.